Hi, welcome to In-Laws and Crime. I'm Ashley.
I am Megan. This is In-Laws and Crime.
Hello.
We are here. We are sore.
Yes. Yeah. I love and hate you. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
Megan turned me on to a Pilates challenge. It's a 25-day challenge on YouTube. It's free.
It's Izzy Pilates. If anybody knows, it is complete torture.
Oh my god.
For about 30 minutes.
Okay. So Megan was already you're not in bad shape.
Well, at all. Yes, I am.
This girl, however, has a long way to go. And it has literally kicked my rear.
Oh.
Like I just broke down and laid down on my floor at one point.
It's hard. It is so hard.
Challenging.
I know. And, I used to be a big time runner and stuff. And then people would talk about Pilates. And I always thought of Pilates as like yoga, which I used to do yoga too back in the day. But I was just like, I want something kind of more intense and stuff. Pilates, I'm going to go ahead and say, is one of the hardest workouts.
Oh my gosh.
And I've been through HIIT. I've been through all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so intense.
And by the time I'm done, every muscle in my body is shaking.
Yeah. She's always like, this is just going to be upper body. And I'm, bull crap. My toes hurt, Izzy.
It's really good though. She's a super cute little Australian girl.
And she's so encouraging.
She is. She's like, you can do it. And I'm like, no, I can't.
And I think, and this is what I was going to tell you earlier, I think my one up that I have is so Ashley's doing it, I'm doing it, and then my other friend's doing it. And me and my friend Nora, we are competitive, but we use it to our gain.
Yeah.
And so we track each other on our iWatches and we can see our workouts. And so we really hold each other accountable.
Oh my gosh. I tried to wrap my girl Amber into it and she's like, no.
Yeah. It's a dedication.
Like, no. She's like, not right now, maybe later.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? It's 25 days. There is no later.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So love and hate you, Megan.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's our workout file.
Yeah. That's our workout file.
Yeah.
For a farm file, Barbara finally got off her eggs.
Oh, there you go.
So I saw her for the first time in weeks today out of the coop, and
she's not brooding.
She's given up, thank goodness. Yeah. And
bless her.
I know, bless her heart.
She's like, these damn things aren't gonna happen.
I know. So I went out to the coop to collect her eggs while she was out like grazing in the yard. All that work for one egg.
Oh, bless
her. It was one egg, and I was like, bless it, Barbara.
Oh, poor Barbara.
Anyway, but so she's out and back with her sisters, and yeah.
I don't have any farm files, I don't think.
You're good. I'm sorry. Yeah. Adjusting my microphone.
We do have crime files.
Yes. So my girl Elizabeth sent me one that this happened a while back, but the woman is actually being charged now with running over her boyfriend with a golf cart.
Oh my gosh, that's the one you sent me.
That led to his death.
She was pissed.
I mean, she ran him over and left him for dead. Went in the house, went to bed.
That must have been a hell of a golf cart.
I mean, it was souped up.
Okay.
What the article said. I put her on the list, so I'm going to cover her later. It's too fresh to cover right now, but I'm going to cover her later.
Wow.
And then the other one was in your neck of the woods over in Lindale, that about a year ago, a man led police on a high-speed chase while he was actively shooting at them.
It was the most intense thing
ever.
It was wild. And he was live. He was on Facebook Live.
That's right. He was on Facebook Live, like filming the whole thing.
He started out at a gas station.
Causing a ruckus, being weird and trying to get one of the gas station attendants to go with him,
quote unquote, because it wasn't safe for her, quote unquote. And she's like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And then he goes into a community known as Hideaway, which is in Lindale, and proceeds to start rolling around shooting. And, if anybody's ever been into Hideaway, it's a golf course. And so and all the houses are pretty close together. And nobody was ever hurt, which is just a miracle from the Lord, because he was just, and then he went out into Lindale all through down 69 shooting.
He was headed to Tyler. I think didn't
Yeah.
they catch him like at Tyler Pipe or something on
Yeah.
69.
Yeah, they sure did. But I'm not sure if the videos are still up of him live, but he was saying all kinds of stuff, which I think come to find out it was a lot of drugs and he'd been up for like days on end.
Yeah.
But it's always the aliens or the FBI is watching you.
Yeah.
It's every single time.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I think that was one of his things is he thought everybody in Hideaway was part of the FBI.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
But yeah, so now he's not, what was it, in the court, he's in insanity or whatever, or he's too incompetent, or he is competent to stand trial. Yes.
Yeah, now that he's clean.
Yeah, now that he's sober, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But oh man, and that was a big deal last year.
Yes. And then not a crime file or anything, but my bestie from high school, her family listens. And so she reached out to me this week, and I didn't get permission to name drop or anything, so I won't. But if they're listening, they know exactly who they are. And so they said that going back to the KFC murders, that the reason like people were invading the crime scene and taking all the pictures was to sell them to newspapers, to be the first to sell it to newspapers. And I never even thought about that. I was like, oh, of course. Like, where else?
I'm sure they got a pretty penny for that.
I'm sure they did. I'm like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. So thank you for that. You know who you are.
Yeah.
So I never even thought about it.
Insane. So that case I still think about that case a lot.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Okay, are you ready?
I am so ready. Let's dive right in. I have no idea. No idea.
So we're talking about Peggy and Walker Railey today.
Okay.
And this case was suggested by my mom and by Steve to cover.
Okay.
So we're going to start off in the 70s. This is where it starts. But let me give you a little history on Walker Railey. So Walker Railey was born in June 1947, and he grew up in Owensboro, a small town in Kentucky.
Oh.
Walker's father was a sheet metal worker, and I couldn't find much on his mother other than in an article, it says that she was kind of neglectful.
Okay.
So real quick, let me go back. My sources were Texas Monthly and Dallas Magazine.
Okay.
My two sources. So either way, the family didn't have a lot of money, and Walker went to work for the city of Owensboro as soon as he was eligible to work to help make ends meet. But Walker loved school.
Oh.
And he absolutely loved talking about God.
Oh, bless him.
In fact, don't bless him yet.
Oh.
In fact, in his junior year in high school, Walker asked his mother to speak to their local minister about letting Walker deliver a sermon in church.
My goodness.
I know.
Okay.
So the minister was like, absolutely, come on.
Yeah.
So when the day came, about 350 people were in attendance, including Walker's friends and family, and he gave a sermon on prayer that moved the entire congregation.
And he's how old?
He's a junior in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So after that, he's like, this is my calling.
Yeah.
Preaching is my calling. So he started college at Western Kentucky University. And by 1970, he transferred to SMU's Perkins Theological Seminary in Dallas, Texas, where professors immediately recognized Walker's gifts and talents of preaching the word of God.
Okay.
That same year, Walker met Margaret, who goes by Peggy Nikolai. Peggy was from Wisconsin, and she was attending SMU to get a graduate degree in sacred organ music.
Ooh, the organ is such a cool.
It is. It's so kind of ominous too, when you hear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick pause. There is a girl on TikTok that plays. The organ is the huge thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she plays, I think it's some big symphony. It's either like Dallas. No, I don't know. Anyways, but she's really cool. I'll have to try and remember. And
yeah. Thanks for giving us nothing, Megan.
I mean, she's on TikTok, but she plays the organ and she plays all of the Phantom of the Opera music. And
really? Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So the two, Peggy and Walker, fell in love, and they married the next year in 1971.
Oh,
okay. And it was quick.
Yeah.
So Walker was a very outgoing, a very loud individual, and Peggy was very quiet, soft-spoken, a very like private kind of individual. But they seemed to be like the perfect balance.
Yeah.
By 1973, Walker had been offered a position as an associate minister at the First United Methodist Church in Dallas, Texas. He was there 3 years, then took a position at Christ Methodist Church in Farmers Branch, where he served in the church for 4 years. By 1980, Walker was asked to come back to First United Methodist Church as a senior minister. So I'm going to just let you know that this is like the First United Methodist Church and then the Christ Methodist Church. These are mega churches.
Yeah.
These are not just the little 350, congregation church that he preached at when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like these are, the congregation is thousands of people.
Yeah, that's insane.
So this is like a huge deal for him because most of the time, when you get out of college, you're still working your way from the bottom up, right? You're not landing these big jobs.
Yeah.
And most of the people that come out of the seminary school end up going to rural towns with these small churches, and that's where they start.
Yeah.
I hit my mic. That's where they start. And he like walked out and immediately got the big job.
Wow.
And like, that's insane.
That is, yeah.
We're not going to like Walker in the end, but but like right now, like that's a big deal. That speaks volumes for who he was and his.
He's just ticking up like this, and I'm sure we're about to watch that downward.
Yeah. So he wasn't, and he like taught. So it wasn't like what we see a lot in the South, which is that fire and brimstone like scare tactic.
Baptist.
That's not who he was.
Okay.
So as for Peggy, she followed and supported Walker as the minister's wife. She sang in the choir and played the organ, but she was also under a tremendous amount of stress because, unfortunately, a minister's wife is judged more harshly than the minister himself. She had to always be pleasant, which made me laugh when I think about how often I am unpleasant.
I feel like I'm in a state of constant unpleasantness. Yes.
So she had to always be pleasant and smiling, reassuring. She had to attend every church event and greet everyone. And it was a lot for Peggy because, like, remember, she's quiet. She keeps to herself and she's not big and loud like Walker. And
yeah, she's not outgoing.
Yes. And Walker, on the other hand, was allowed to be loud and get angry and roar like a lion. And no one batted an eye. Right? Because that's just who he is. He's passionate and he's just allowed to be
men
that
will
way.
Be men. Boys will be boys.
Yes. But Peggy had to maintain perfection all the time.
Yeah.
So not only did Peggy have to keep up with appearances, but it left very little privacy for the Rayleys, which was also a struggle for Peggy. Walker, on the other hand, he thrived in the attention and the feeling of importance he got from serving as minister for the First United Methodist Church. And, like if you've ever attended a church for an extended period of time, like churches are like little cities.
Yeah.
And rumors and everything spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
So if they were constantly under, the radar or the view of the congregation, then,
I can't imagine how that dynamic is in like a mega church. Because I've always been in very, we go to church every Sunday and we have really small churches, and now we've just now started going to a even smaller church, which, going to a smaller church, I think is where it's at for us at least. So I can't imagine going to like a huge mega church
and then having thousands of eyes on you. At all times.
I mean, I'm sure that's some people's jam, but most certainly is not mine. Yeah. And I can't imagine how hard that is for her.
Right. Yeah. Being somebody that's so quiet and to herself. And I think about this too, because I'm not, people don't energize me. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but like if I'm in a group, it's like,
it's very draining.
Yes, it's draining. And the moment like I get away and get out, then I'm just like, oh, it's not to say that I didn't have a great time. I did, but like I need a minute to like recoup.
Yeah. To charge back up.
Yeah. I feel like this is Peggy.
Yeah.
That people, oh my gosh, she's not energized by people.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, First United Methodist was a huge church with about 6,000 members in the 80s, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And this was a big deal at the time because 6 former ministers, senior ministers, portraits hung in the church's hall, and 6 of those men were appointed to bishop out of this church, which is the equivalent to a cardinal in the Catholic religion.
That's insane.
So that's wild that 6 men from this church were appointed as bishop.
Yeah.
So this like fueled Walker.
Yeah.
He's like, I want the bishop title, I want to be hung in the hallway.
Yeah.
So that was his goal.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And at this point, Walker had already made history in the Methodist Church because he was the youngest senior minister at the age of 33.
Wow.
And so the only other minister younger than him, senior minister, was in his mid-50s.
Wow.
So this was a huge deal.
My goodness. Yeah.
So, and by all accounts, like, Walker was on track for the bishop title. And but no one questions his ability to get there. Like, yeah, he's on his way.
Yeah.
Because everyone was so impressed by him, and they watched Walker revive the old church. So under Walker, the membership started growing with young people, and the church's annual budget increased to $2 million annually, which today is $8 million.
Gosh.
Yeah. So Walker's preaching style just drew people in a way the church had never seen before. So Walker was passionate about three things. He was very passionate about aiding the homeless. He was passionate about breaking down the barriers between racism and equality. And he was very passionate about his career.
Oh,
three things.
Okay.
So this is a quote from Walker from one of his...
It's weird. Where's your passion about God? If you're a preacher, I feel like your number one passion should be that. But...
should be the Lord.
Yeah, the Lord.
So, okay. So this is taken from one of Walker's sermons about the homeless. So this is a quote.
Okay.
Sometimes we become so distracted by the beautiful skyline in downtown that we think every edifice in Dallas glitters. But right in the central core of the city, not to mention all around it, there are shacks ready to fall down within which live people who can barely stand up. Like the English pauper, these helpless individuals could easily say, what good is it to be a citizen of a country where the sun never sets if you have to live in the gutter where the sun never rises? People do not see anything wrong with that. That is the problem. People just don't see.
Oh.
Yeah. So
That's very sad. Yeah.
So, Walker is not only the lead senior minister at First United, but he's also president of the Greater Dallas County or Community of Churches, chairman of the board of ordained ministry, author of several books. And by 1986, he was preaching on a radio station that was broadcast nationally called American Protestant Hour.
Wow.
So this guy is everywhere. And you think about that. He's doing all these things, and plus all the things that you do as a minister, like you're visiting like your members that are ill, or
going to the hospital.
Yeah, doing the funerals and marriages, like in between all the other things that he had going on, he was also a part of all those things.
That is insane.
Yes. So at this point, the other senior ministers are becoming worried about all these things that Walker's involved in, and like that he's just moving too quickly.
Yeah.
But Walker had a goal that he wanted to be named bishop by 1988. So this is 1986. So in 2 years, he wanted the title. But unfortunately, that was never going to happen. So as I mentioned, Walker was a big advocate of breaking down the racial barriers, and he preached often about like breaking these barriers down. And then at one point in one of his sermons, he called out a kids camp that was between Dallas and Fort Worth that was actually run by the KKK.
Ew.
Yeah. And so it was
what in the world? This is what year?
This was 1986.
What in the heck?
So after this sermon,
is this true? Did we look this up?
I didn't look it up. They didn't mention what the camp's name was, so I didn't even.
That's mind blowing. Okay. Wow.
So it was after this sermon that church members started noticing a shift in Walker's behavior. Yeah, and how he was delivering his sermons. It finally came out that Walker had received a threatening letter from a white supremacist demanding he stop talking about the racial divide in the country.
Oh.
So at first, the senior ministers didn't think much of the letter because it happens from time to time that they ruffle somebody's feathers and they get something like this.
Yeah.
But the letters kept coming.
Oh, gosh.
Not only were the letters coming to Walker, but threatening phone calls were being made to Peggy by an unidentified woman on their home phone.
Oh, no.
The calls got so bad that Peggy had a second phone line installed at their home and only gave the number out to a select few.
Oh, no.
So the main home phone was set up to go straight to an answering machine. And all the letters that like Walker was receiving were immediately turned over to police. So, and then the Rayleys eventually moved and bought a home with like a high-tech security system and like a you know, like little community or whatever.
Okay. Like a gated community.
Yeah. So at this time, Peggy and Walker had 2 children, Ryan, who was 5, and Megan, who was 2. So now it's around Easter time, and Walker receives another threatening letter. And this is what it said. This was just a quote from the letter. Jesus may have risen on Easter, but you're going to take the fall.
What the hell?
Yeah. Well, this obviously had Walker incredibly nervous. So on Easter Sunday, Peggy, instead of performing in the choir and playing the organ, sat in the congregation with an undercover officer. And then Walker, who normally walks out with the choir and other senior ministers, stays back and slides to the pulpit at the very last minute. Walker borrowed a bulletproof vest to wear under his robe that day.
Oh my goodness.
And 2 undercover officers stood guard over the congregation that day. Luckily, nothing happened. And several church members visited Walker in his office after the sermon was delivered. And they said he was full of anxiety and having a lot of difficulty just like gaining control.
I bet.
Yeah. So, okay, that was Easter. 3 days after Walker delivered his Easter sermon, Walker had been at the SMU library doing research for his new book. He came home just after midnight to find Peggy on the garage floor, her face swollen and purple, and she was convulsing.
Oh my gosh.
Walker panicked, ran inside to locate his children, called 911, then ran to the neighbor's house for help. And he finally called their best friends, John and Diane Yarrington, to come quickly to take the children that something had happened to Peggy.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I keep hitting my mic. So when the Yarringtons arrive, EMS is already on site and Peggy's being loaded into the ambulance. Diane and John gather Ryan and Megan and help them pack bags so they can come stay the night.
Yeah.
Now, the Yarringtons and the Rayleys were like the best of friends. So the couples had even had an agreement that if something ever happened to the other couple, that the surviving couple would take on their children. So, but I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah.
So as John and Diane are loading up the kids, Walker begs them all of a sudden, like, please don't leave me. Like, I don't know what to do.
Oh, no.
And John said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to send Diane home with the kids. And he's like, I'm here. I've got you. So John and Walker follow the ambulance to the hospital, where John finally learns from the ER doctor that Peggy's neck had been broken by an attacker.
Oh my gosh.
And it appeared that she had been strangled with a ligature.
I was thinking poison. Wow.
Yeah, her neck was broken.
Oh my gosh.
The ER doctor further explains that while Peggy was alive, she was not going to recover.
Oh.
Based on the injuries she sustained, Peggy was going to remain in a vegetative state permanently.
And the kids were there when this happened.
The kids were home.
Oh my.
There's a lot of discrepancy about that too, about like what Ryan may have seen, because he was 5.
Yeah.
And when Walker goes into the house to find his children, his daughter is in the floor with the TV on, but it's muted. And he panicked that she was the first child that he found. And he panicked that she was, dead. And anyway, he runs to her, scoops her up, and she had just fallen asleep in front of the TV.
Oh.
And they suspect she got up to find her mom, couldn't find her, and then sat and watched TV and fell asleep on the floor. And then Ryan, at that point, was still asleep in his bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, let me see. Where was that? Okay. So the hospital gives Walker a suite to stay in so that he could be close to Peggy while they monitored her.
And they're at what hospital? You didn't
I don't know.
It's
okay.
okay.
I didn't say.
Sorry.
Don't know.
Not important.
So during this time, Walker was eventually taken to the police station to give a statement. And in a nutshell, this is what Walker told police. He said he came home that evening. Peggy was in the garage rubbing a bar of soap on a latch that wasn't working properly. The two spoke for a few minutes. Walker left to go to the library to work on his book. He came home about 12:30 a.m. When his lights hit the garage door, he saw that the garage door was partially open and Peggy was lying on the floor. He ran in, found his children, called 911, ran to the neighbors, and then called the Yarringtons.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how he said the night kind of unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to learn this is one of the only times that Walker talks to the police.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So the case is assigned to homicide investigator Lieutenant Ron Waldrop. Waldrop knew that this was going to be a tough case to solve, but he was going to give it his all. One thing he knew for sure going in was that Peggy's attacker was not a random intruder. There was no sign of forced entry, no indication of a struggle, and there were no reports of recent break-ins in the area.
Okay.
So the first thing Waldrop's investigators had done on the night of the attack was they conducted the standard house-to-house interview with everyone on the block. So no one had really heard or seen anything suspicious except for one neighbor saw a man running between two homes the night of the attack. And another neighbor that lived directly behind the Rayleys heard rustling outside. So that was all that they had.
Okay.
So the morning after the strangulation, Waldrop had visited Walker in the hospital suite and conducted an interrogation that lasted nearly 3 hours. It was clear to Waldrop that Walker was emotionally and physically drained, and he was also slurring his words. Come to find out, the nurses had given Walker a tranquilizer to help keep him calm. So Waldrop, taking all the factors into account, still came away puzzled from the interrogation. Walker's accounts of the events of April 21st to April 22nd were simple. He had been working on a research paper until sometime after midnight at the Birdwell Library. Walker then phoned home, received no answer, became alarmed, drove home to find the garage door partially open and Peggy crumpled on the garage floor. Waldrop had the security system looked at because remember they bought this house that had the high-tech security system.
That's what I was thinking about.
So he was like, maybe it had been tampered with. Like, why didn't it go on or go off? A representative of the company that installed and monitored the system says that the technicians had just checked the system 2 days before the attack and that the system was working as intended. The representative goes on to further explain that the only entrance to the house that wouldn't trigger the alarm was the garage door. Yep. He said Miss Railey was aware of that and that she was also equipped with a portable panic button.
Okay.
So the rep continues on stating that the company prides itself on a 3-minute response time anytime one of their clients' alarms are triggered, and no alarm came from the Railey's house that night. And the system was rechecked and it was working perfectly.
I wonder if she had that on her.
I don't know.
Yeah.
As scared as they were from the letters and the phone calls, I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
So, well, this only prompted, of course, more questions for Waldrop. He said, why would Walker or Peggy shut off the security system when Walker had just been forced to wear a bulletproof vest during Easter Sunday, 2 days prior? And why would Walker dare leave his wife and 2 children unguarded and unattended until past midnight?
That's kind of what went off in the back of my head. Like, wow, you're going to go off and study about a book?
Yeah, right. To make matters even stranger, a policeman at the crime scene had the impression that Walker had been drinking. A neighbor would later tell police the same thing. They believed Walker had been drinking.
Not very bishop-like of you.
It is not.
Walker.
It's not. So as all this is going on, finally, a break in the case. After extensive testing, the FBI found that the notorious death threat letters were written on a typewriter in the First United Methodist Church. So the death threats and the letters were coming from inside the church.
What?
Yeah.
What in the world is happening here?
I know. In the days following the attack, Walker continued to stay near his wife at Presbyterian Hospital.
Oh, there we go.
Greeting a flow of sympathetic friends and church members. On the morning of May 1st, however, Walker didn't show up at Peggy's room. He also didn't answer phone calls that were to his room. So when security guards finally forced their way in, they found he was unconscious from an overdose of sleeping pills. Now Walker, not his wife Peggy, was stretched out in an emergency room while 2 doctors and 3 nurses worked to save his life. They pumped his stomach and revealed that he had taken about a dozen 10-milligram tranquilizers, enough to put Walker into a super deep sleep, but not enough to kill him. While the doctors worked to save Walker, they discovered a suicide note, and one of the lines read, "There were demons within him and that he was tired of pretending to be good."
Yeesh.
Right?
That's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So back at First United, the senior ministers tried to press on as if nothing had happened. But the congregation was clearly hungry for answers, and the atmosphere was anything but normal on the Sunday following the tragic events.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The congregation was led that day by Gordon Cassad, who had been hired on to help reduce some of Walker's workload.
Mm-hmm.
Understandably, Cassad's remarks had to be delicate.
Yeah.
And not only was the congregation watching intently, the service was also being televised live on Channel 8. On Channel 8's Hour of Worship.
I don't know.
By now, everybody was pondering the mystery that was Walker Railey. His story had sent a wind of foreboding through the entire city of Dallas.
Yeah.
Not just churchgoers, but everybody. This man had been a rock on which troubled people found rest. Now he seemed as vulnerable and weak as anyone else.
Well, I mean, and they're almost like celebrities, right? Like these mega church preachers and stuff. Like they become celebrities.
They do.
Like. Yeah,
they do. And Walker loved it.
Yeah,
he loved it. So some members of First United were also remembering that just 2 months before Walker had preached a sermon that dealt with the topic of suicide.
Yeah.
So there he was. So they're like, what is happening? So this is like from one of his sermons. And that Walker had become perplexed by 4 New Jersey teenagers that followed through with a pact and ended their lives together. So this was the quote from the sermon that day. Maybe these 4 youths were just tired of the daily grind, exhausted by the stress and strains of making it through the day, but with no sensation of having gone anywhere in the process. They felt like maybe life was just nothing more than a dead-end street. They had been trapped in their situations, trapped in their lifestyles, trapped in their souls. But in trying to find hope in the midst of despair, Walker further went on to say it is tragic that they did not perceive the other option. Instead of opting for life after death, they could have sought birth after life. Had they done so, they could have been living today with abundance. Mm-hmm. So the congregation was like, Walker didn't even follow his own sermon.
I was just about to say, it's terrifying to think that people like that can put that mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like 2 different people.
Yeah. And we're going to see further into that. Yeah. So this Sunday, Cassad leaned toward the microphone to explain what had happened. He told them the most recent news of the Rayleys. And it was up to the congregation, he said, to separate fact from fiction, truth from sensation. He also said that perhaps Walker had tried to move ahead too fast and in the process outdistanced the plans that God had set for him. As Cassad sat down, the hush across the church was deafening. Mm-hmm. When the service was over, the mood at First United Methodist Church was anything but joyous. That same night, CBS Movie of the Week had attracted an unusually high audience because it was titled Murder Ordained, and it was based on the true story of a Lutheran minister in rural Kansas. The minister and his girlfriend from the congregation had schemed to murder the minister's wife.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think. Oh,
yeah. By the second week of May, the media and general public came to the conclusion that Walker had attempted to kill Peggy. The rumors were flying. One story had it that WD-40 had been sprayed down Peggy's throat. Another version said that she had hanged herself to indicate suicide. A third said she was found on the garage floor with her arms folded across her chest to indicate she was lying in an open casket.
Okay, people.
I know.
Calm down.
Yeah. These rumors sparked the board of elders at First United Methodist to hire a prominent Dallas criminal defense lawyer, Doug Mulder, to represent Walker, which was a strange move considering that Walker had not been charged with anything.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm. The two made an unlikely combination. Walker, the man of God, represented by the win-at-all-cost Doug Mulder. But Doug was not at all bothered by this very presence that might suggest that Walker, was like part of Walker's anxiety.
Yeah.
He said if Walker was worried about his public image, he should have hired a PR guy and not a lawyer.
Yeah.
He said, it's my job to keep my client out of jail. That's all that matters. And Doug wasted no time getting to work. His first move was he arranged for Walker to check himself into Timberland Psychiatric Hospital in far East Dallas. Then Doug offered a simple suggestion to his client: do not talk to the cops.
Okay. So he tells him, you need to go check yourself into
a psych ward
and don't talk
to no
to
one.
Anybody.
This
interesting game plan there.
I know. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
This was harmful to the investigation because police needed to talk to him. They we need to clear up some inconsistencies in your movements that night that your wife was attacked. But Walker, per Doug's, advice, refused to talk to police.
Yeah.
Doug then suggested that Walker submit to a lie detector test. And actually, 3 tests were conducted.
Oh.
One was done privately by a retired officer at the psych hospital that showed that Walker was being truthful, that he did not have anything to do with his wife's attack. The second one was performed at the police station and showed deception. Then a third polygraph was done, but the results were never released. So we have no idea.
Interesting.
The third one. But the polygraphs were thrown out because the second polygraph given, the rules were set that they could not ask Walker about the threatening letters. Okay, they could ask him anything else, but they couldn't ask about the letters.
I wonder why.
Well, the examiner at the police station asked him about the letters.
He's like, okay,
I'm
going to ask about that letter.
And so Doug's argument was, he's like, you made my client nervous and he was confused because you weren't supposed to ask him about that. So we can't use these polygraphs. And it worked. So they were never, if this goes to trial, they're not allowed to use them as evidence.
Dang.
Yep. So this downward spiral of Walker's fortunes intensified in June when Ralph Shannon, head of the Pastor Parish Relations Committee that oversees personal matters, announced at a news conference that Walker has been dismissed as senior minister at the First United Methodist Church. So he was fired.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to throw this out there because Peggy was attacked in April. It's now June. Walker's children are still with the Yarringtons.
Oh, my
I know, we
gosh,
forgot about the kids. I know. So he never went back to get his children.
Yikes.
Yeah. So they're still with the Yarringtons.
Oh my gosh. Those poor babies. Oh. So
as the announcement came that Walker was essentially fired, this split the church in 2. So you have the original congregation at First United before Walker arrived, and then you have all the newbies that came after he arrived.
Yeah.
And the pro-Walker group felt that Walker's termination was premature, a cold and ungracious gesture to bestow on the man that was credited with bringing the church so much prosperity and vitality. So they're like, this is unfair. He hasn't even been charged with anything.
Yeah. I'm wondering if the church knew something.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. Okay.
So this divide had the church at a brink of their own little civil war inside the congregation. So they finally came to an agreement that while Walker was being investigated, the church would continue to pay him a portion of his salary, which at the time was $100,000 a year.
God bless.
Today, $300,000 a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So now we're going to see a flashy cowboy type with a thick mustache and a flair for the dramatic has been assigned as chief prosecutor for the DA's office. This guy was named Norman Kinney. When he received the evidence collected by investigators, Norman was furious. He walked out of the meeting straight into news cameras and stated Walker Railey would either show up before a grand jury that would be investigating the matter, or he'd have to leave the country.
Oh.
Because it's clear Norman felt that Walker was guilty.
Oh, boy.
It was also noted that Norman and Doug, Walker's attorney, were rivals, and that Norman would love nothing more than to stick it to Doug in a high-profile case.
Oh, boy. Drama all around.
I know.
My goodness.
Yeah. So shortly after this, Walker was subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury, as was someone else.
Oh.
A woman named Lucy Papillon, a member of the First United Church.
Her last name is Papillon?
I'll get there.
Oh.
Lucy Papillon.
My gosh, this is so Texas. This is so Texas.
It really is. Lucy Papillon, a psychologist with frosted blonde hair and sparkling eyes, had been the object of whispered speculation for weeks now. Rumor was that Walker had been exploring an outside love interest, and if Lucy was the mistress, Walker couldn't have chosen anyone more different than his wife, Peggy.
Oh, no.
In fact, the only thing that these two women had in common was their love for music. That was it.
Oh.
Complete opposites.
Oh, no.
Lucy had been divorced twice and legally changed her name to Papillon. Her real name was Lucy Goodrich. In fact, Lucy's father was Bishop Robert E. Goodrich Jr., one of the 6 men from the First United Methodist Church to be appointed bishop.
Wow. What a
He later returned to SMU, where he is now Dean of Student Life. Jim and Lucy's marriage lasted 9 years. After the divorce, Lucy was inspired to visit Esalen, a sort of commune for free spirits and free thinkers of various persuasions who gather at Big Sur in California.
Okay.
Yeah, so she kind of did this like hippie move.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. The goal is to elevate oneself to a higher plane via nutrition, nude bathing, and massages.
So it's a hippie camp.
It's like a nudist colony.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So it was at Esalen that Lucy Coswell decided to take on her identity as Papillon, French for butterfly.
I was about to say, I knew it was French for butterfly because my mom, yes, because my mom used to have a Papillon.
Oh, okay.
And it's also a dog breed.
It is a dog breed.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So Lucy would later return to Dallas, where she remarried, and this time to another psychologist named Irwin Goodall. But the marriage ended quickly. So this is where Lucy and Walker came into play. Lucy's friendship began with Walker in 1984 when both appeared on a television panel discussion group. According to phone records, Walker had called Lucy twice from his car phone at 5:58 p.m. and again at 7:32 p.m. the night that his wife was attacked.
That ain't good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good look.
Were these calls mentioned to the detectives?
No.
They had no idea.
Of course not.
Mm-hmm.
We had the best marriage ever.
Yes. On the day of the grand jury hearing, Walker emerged from the elevator on the 7th floor of the county courthouse into a sea of 35 reporters and cameramen gathered in the hallway. He tried to walk quickly through the crowd to the grand jury room. "Walk more slowly, Reverend," bellowed one of the cameramen. He said, and he replied, he goes, "More slowly? Okay." And he said we did. But remember, he loves the spotlight.
Yeah, I was just about to say, very on par.
He loves the spotlight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Disgusting babe.
So after Doug threw a couple of verbal hooks at Norman Kenny, Doug then reaffirmed his client's innocence. "If you're going to create an alibi, you'd better create a better one than Walker did," Norman said. The grand jury began questioning Walker about the night of his wife's attack. But during questioning, Walker pleaded the fifth, which allows a person to avoid incriminating himself. In fact, he pled the fifth 43 times during questioning.
So annoying. If you're innocent, you don't plead the fifth.
Right. You just, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But everyone, they didn't really care about Walker's questioning. They really wanted to hear from Lucy.
Yeah,
like,
me
she's
too.
the scandal right now. Like, let's hear from her.
Get on up there, Papillon.
Yeah. So Lucy confronted the 12-person panel and apparently confirmed that she and Walker had been romantically involved. She said that she and Walker, since June of 1986, had traveled out of town together on more than one occasion. In the summer of 1986, Walker had traveled to Kenya to attend a worldwide religious conference and had stopped over in London for a little lover's weekend with Lucy before returning from Kenya. Lucy said that she and Walker had discussions of marriage. She also testified that she had met with Walker in the hospital suite at Presbyterian Hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Where his wife had been strangled. And then they made out.
I was just going to ask, did she know that he was married?
Yeah. Oh, yes, she knew. How would you not know? He's the pastor.
And then you went to the hospital
and made out with him.
Where his wife...
As he's in a suite that the hospital provided him. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What in the hell?
So I wrote, so his wife is brain dead in the hospital and Walker is making out with his mistress across the hall in his suite.
How can you be okay with that as a woman?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's so gross.
So Lucy testified that she had no knowledge of the events that happened at Walker's home on the night of April 21st. But she did say that she and Walker had been together for about half an hour on the night that she was attacked.
So he wasn't at the library.
We'll get there. I'm going to give you a timeline of events.
Okay.
So
what in the freakazoid is going on here?
Right. So now he was still a pastor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a suspect in a murder case, but wasn't convicted,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now that it came out that he committed adultery, the church was like, oh, hell no.
We draw the line.
We draw the line at adultery.
Oh, yeah. Murder.
Yes. So now we hear from Ralph Shannon again. Said the discussions were underway to remove Walker's portrait from the hall where it hung in the church foyer. And in late August, Walker's salary was dropped from the church's payroll. On September 2nd, Walker resigned as the Methodist minister. So only Walker's father back in Kentucky maintains a spirited public defense of his son. He said, why would he strangle his wife? He said, why would he want to do that? He had the congregation in Dallas, the Finest congregation in Dallas, preaching on Channel 8. And he said, a beautiful family making good money and probably about to become the youngest Methodist bishop in the United States. Tell me why. It makes absolutely no sense.
Because he was screwing some chick on the side.
I mean, he had motive.
Yeah.
So police are still asking for anyone who knows what might have happened that night to come forward. Privately, however, they know that as each day passes, the chances of solving the crime grow even smaller. Meanwhile, Peggy Railey lies more dead than alive, as stated by Norman Kenny. She was put into a Tyler nursing home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the question was on everyone's mind: what will happen to the Railey's two children, and what will Walker do now that he's fallen so far?
Yeah. Interesting. Why'd they move her to Tyler?
Her parents had relocated to Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so her parents were living in Tyler at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So for now, Walker Railey conducts his private morning devotionals. He plays golf. And he tries to hold off the police, who are searching everywhere for something that might link him to the attack on his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you a timeline of events that night. Okay.
Wait, so he's
never convicted.
Why do you keep doing this to me? I feel
convicted.
like you did this in another case.
I did with the missing trio. I think I didn't tell you it was unsolved.
Yeah, you did that. And missing trio and homegirl at the wax museum.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bless it. Yeah, I forgot about her. Yeah, with the NyQuil.
Ashley, we're all going to rise up.
Yeah.
How is he not? What in the world? Okay.
Yeah. He's never convicted.
Wow.
So here's the timeline of events that night. Okay. So at 6:30 p.m., Walker arrives at home, and he tells he tells that she's in the garage, and they're like, she's lubing up the door hinge or whatever, the latch. And the only thing I can think of is the latch is that, like garage doors have like a sliding latch to lock it.
Yeah.
I think that's what she was messing with. Because
she was probably wanting to lock the garage.
Right, it was the only door that didn't have the alarm, right? So it would make sense that that's what she was working on. So the two have a glass of wine, and then Walker leaves to head to the library to do research on his book.
I'm sure.
Between 7 and 7:30, Peggy talks on the phone with a friend, tells a friend that she's fine, and discourages them from coming by. So remember, they're receiving threatening calls and letters.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was worried about her.
Yeah.
She's home by herself with the kids.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
7:26. Walker calls the family babysitter on the car phone and discusses the plan of the family trip going out of town later that week. So the car phone had been installed by the church as an additional safety measure. Okay. So it was bought and paid for by the church.
Yeah.
I was at 7:26. 7:32. Walker phones Lucy Papillon's home and she lives near the SMU campus where he's at the library. Okay. He phones her. Between 7:40 and 8:15, Walker was with Lucy at her home. Between 8 and 8:30, Walker appears at Birdwell Library at SMU and asks the librarian what time it is. So Walker used to wear a watch, okay? And this just drove me nuts. He quit wearing watches because he liked a French cuff on his shirts, And the constant sliding of his sleeve up over the watch to see what time it was fraying his shirts. So
was it?
It was. So
was it, Walker?
So he quit wearing a watch. So this is important because, like, as they're tracking time, right? He's having to constantly ask or whatever.
Yeah.
So 8:30, Walker phones Peggy from a payphone at the library, and she tells him that she's just putting the kids to bed, that everything's good. She's putting the kids to bed.
Mm.
So between 8:50 and 9:15, Peggy makes a long distance phone call and talks to her parents and Tyler. Okay, so at 9:15, Peggy's still alive. 8:53, Walker goes to a Texaco station where he buys gas and a wine cooler, which is just so 80s.
Yeah.
So 80s to buy a wine cooler. Do people still drink those?
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, like, do people see you around town, like at nighttime buying a wine cooler, Bishop?
Yeah. Or wanting to be Bishop?
Yeah.
Yeah. At 9:30 in Walker and Peggy's neighborhood is where they see a man in a business suit in street shoes running through a yard 2 houses down from the Railey's home. So Walker lived in a suit in his French cuffs.
Yeah.
So, okay,
obviously.
We see a man in a suit running between 2 houses at 9:30.
That would be the most oddest thing to see. A man in a full suit running.
And you don't call it in.
I'd be like, well, I'd probably been like, it's the FBI.
I mean, well, I guess.
Yeah. Or 007. Hell, I don't know.
Yeah. So between 10:15 and 10:30, the woman who lives immediately behind the Rayleys is when she hears the noises outside.
Yeah.
Okay. So remember, those were our 2 people that had any evidence or saw anything that night.
Mm-hmm.
So at 10 to 11, Walker is seen at the Foundren Library at SMU, which he failed to tell police that he had gone to. So he told police, he was adamant that the 2 times he talked to them, that he went to Birdwell. So now we have another library that we found out that he actually went to. So he went to 2 libraries that night. Midnight, Walker attempts to give his business card to the librarian, listing research information he is seeking, and he leaves it with the librarian. Mm-hmm. So this card, okay? Mm-hmm. So that was the last time he was noted at the library, was midnight. Yeah. 12:03, Walker calls his house from the car phone and receives no answer. Okay. So remember, they have 2 lines.
Yeah.
They have a public line and then they have a private line. Mm-hmm. So the public line goes straight to the answer machine, right? Mm-hmm. When Walker calls, he calls the main line and leaves a message on the answer machine and says, hey, Peggy, it's 10:30 and I'll be home in just a few minutes. Now, it's midnight.
Yeah.
It's midnight. So he gives the incorrect time on the voicemail. Okay. So, and he calls the main line instead of calling the private line that he knows she'll answer.
Yeah.
Right? Why?
Yeah.
So he's like
trying to leave proof.
He's
trying to
sprinkle an alibi.
Yeah, he's trying to sprinkle breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Okay.
Stupid breadcrumbs.
At 12:29, he calls again. This time he corrects the time, tells Peggy not to wait up and to go ahead and lock up the house and lock up the garage, and that he would park in the street that night. But which we know he didn't do, because when he got home that night, he pulled into the driveway, saw that the garage was partially open, and Peggy was on the floor.
Yeah.
So he didn't do anything that he said he was going to do, right?
And I'm sorry. So we're saying, so what he allegedly did was gallivant around, go home, murder her, and their 2 kids are still there. And then he leaves again?
Yes. Right. That's what we feel happened.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, a group of Methodist clergymen wrote a letter to Bishop John Russell asking for the church to inquire into Walker's relationship with Lucy. Okay. They're like, we want you to dig into this.
Yeah. So
the bishop began a lengthy private negotiation with Walker, but on September 2nd, Walker surrendered his credentials, which voided the church's jurisdiction over him.
Ooh.
So they couldn't dig into him anymore.
Dang it.
Yeah. That meant that there would be no embarrassing church trial. But it was meant that that also meant that Peggy's insurance would lapse after 12 months. So like that's what's paying for her to be in the hospital, right?
Oh, crap, yeah.
So in October, Walker signed over guardianship of Peggy to her parents, who then placed her in the nursing home in Tyler.
Okay.
So after that, Peggy's father said that Walker visited Peggy maybe 3 or 4 times. And then Walker just like moved on with his life.
I'm shocked he visited her, to be honest.
In 1993, Walker was officially charged with the attempted murder of his wife, but the jury found Walker not guilty, and he was set free for the second time.
How?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you find him not guilty? I guess there's just that one little sliver of doubt, maybe.
I guess. Walker eventually moved to California with Lucy, where they lived together for about 2 years before breaking up in 1996. Walker became involved with various groups that aided the homeless, and he volunteered as often as possible. He eventually met a widowed woman named Donna Berry. Walker would often stay at Donna's apartment, and at the time, her apartment cost $3,000 a month, which today, so $3,000 a month in 1996. Today, that is $7,200 a month.
Good God.
So I don't know what Donna did or what her husband did, but by God.
Wow.
Yeah, she was doing well in California. Yeah. So Walker still maintained his own apartment, right? So he could keep up with appearances. But I mean, he was pretty much living with Donna full time.
Yeah. I'm sure. In that very expensive apartment.
Yes. Walker would later ask the state of Texas to be granted a divorce from Peggy so that he could take the next step with Donna. The divorce was granted in 1997, but Walker was to pay. And we're back. For some reason.
Shocking.
I don't know why we lost internet at my house. Nothing.
Well, it was weird because her chickens, Ashley's chickens started clucking, and then all of a sudden
it went out.
Not the electricity, the internet dropped.
Yeah, which is weird because
the chickens
it still showed great internet in the corner there. So I don't know what. Anyway. So let me repeat myself. So he was granted the divorce in 1997, but Walker was to pay alimony to Peggy's parents for the next 20 years.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I know I read it somewhere in all the things that I read, but I cannot remember. But I think it was about $230 a month is what he paid.
Okay.
And which would be a little over $400 now. So, like, not much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Walker and Peggy's children were raised by John and Diane Yarrington.
Wow.
The children were taken to visit their mother when possible, and the Yarringtons eventually changed the children's last name from Railey to Yarrington. Walker never visited or even called his children. Yeah. He paid the Yarringtons a little over $300 a month in child support, but that was it. He just abandoned them.
Yeah. What a piece of trash.
Yep. Peggy, on the other hand, remained in Tyler nursing home until she eventually passed at the age of 63 from liver failure. The staff of the nursing home said that they would often hear Peggy, this is so terrible, they would often hear Peggy crying or screaming from her room.
Oh, no.
And Diane would later tell investigators that when she would take the children to visit her, or if she brought the kids' artwork to hang in Peggy's room, that tears would roll down Peggy's cheeks.
Oh my gosh.
So she was there.
Yeah,
she
that's
was
what
there.
I was about to say.
She just lacked the ability to communicate. And it's horrible to think about that Peggy's just sitting there, like literally in her own head. Like she can't get it out.
Horrible.
And knowing what happened, knowing the truth, and just having to live with it, and just
seeing your kids come,
and then just lay in this bed. And Peggy had no control over her body.
Yeah.
So she was like alert, and she could move her eyes. She had no control of her muscles or her bowels or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so she lived either in bed or in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But I mean, and eventually she became atrophied and stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff. But
gosh,
but yeah,
that is heartbreaking.
So it was there, and I almost wonder, like, if I didn't read anything, but if investigators like asked her, like, blink twice, Peggy.
Yeah,
if you knew who did it,
they had to have.
But I'm sure it was like thrown out because they're basically considering her a vegetable.
Yeah,
But something's there. You don't react to your children being in the room.
Yeah,
like that. I'm sorry. We had the doors open and flies or
it just hit me right in the forehead. Oh, that is a nightmare.
Oh, let me run it for you even more.
Oh, God.
She died on December 25th. She died on Christmas in 2011.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That is so sad.
Uh-huh. So that is the tragic story of Walker and Peggy Railey and their children.
And so Mr. Walker is still alive?
So Walker continued to live his life in California. And he is currently still alive today. He is 78 years old and still married to Donna.
Interesting.
So, let everyone have their opinion about if they think Walker Railey was guilty or not. Kind of seems that way.
Yeah. I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Our opinion.
Yeah.
All
Right.
the things.
Right. So there just wasn't enough
proof.
There
concrete.
wasn't enough, or DNA or anything.
Mhm.
But I read in the articles too that like it was clear that she wasn't startled by whoever came to attack her, because they said she didn't fight at all.
Yeah.
She didn't fight. They said her hair wasn't out of place. Her glasses were still on her face.
Yeah.
So it was like
very sneak attack.
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was really infuriating.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? And I mean, yeah, it's just crazy. And her children would be close to our age.
Yeah.
At this point, they'd be in their very youthful 40s.
Yeah. Yeah. Still young.
Yeah.
Fresh and spry. Yeah. Well, I hope they're doing great. I hope
they're thriving.
even though that's absolutely tragic.
And the Yarringtons, what kind of people are they to just take on these children? I mean, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Anyway, but yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and share on all of our things.
Rate and review. If you have a tale or
suggestion,
anything, email us at inlawsincrime@gmail.com. And I think that's it.
Come back next week for Megan.
Yeah. I do know what I'm doing.
Do you?
Yes.
Good.
It's going to be a good one.
I'm excited.
Very East Texas.
Oh, well, we love an East Texas cake. That's why we're here.
Yep, that's okay. Well, yes, come back and keep roots deep.
And your head on a swivel.
Bye.